Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. Spread the word, people, spread the word. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 380 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yesterday, a mourning service for hero of Ukraine, legendary commander Dmytro Kotyubailo, known as Da Vinci, took place in Kyiv, reports Grunt Media. Commander of a battalion named after him, the Da Vinci Wolves, was killed in action near Bakhmut, Donetsk Oblast, on 7th of March. Thousands of people came to pay their respects, among them President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, Prime Minister of Finland Sanna Marin, who visited Kyiv at the time, Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzhny, Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov, the head of Defense Intelligence Agency Kyrylo Budanov, and many others. Dmytro Kotyubailo joined the fight in 2014 when he was 18 years old and had been defending Ukraine ever since. Ukraine's Ministry of Culture and Information Policy decided to terminate the agreement with the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate for the free use of the Kyiv-Pechersk Lavra monastery premises, reports BBC News Ukrainian. Monks and priests must vacate all premises by 29 March 2023. The decision is based on the conclusions of the working group that the monastery had violated the terms of the agreement on the use of state property. The Moscow Patriarchate stated that there are no legal grounds for its eviction, which it called a provocation. The Kyiv-Pechersk Lavra is one of the oldest and most important Orthodox monasteries in Ukraine and the entire Eastern Europe, founded in 1051. Officially it belongs to the state, but for many years large parts of the complex were used by the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate, which is a part of the Russian Church. In 2023, several buildings there were returned to the state, and the independent from Russia Orthodox Church of Ukraine received permission to use it for Christmas service. Other parts of the monastery are still used by the Russian Church. The so-called Supreme Courts of the Russia-controlled organizations Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics convicted Maxim Butkevich, a human rights activist and journalist who served in the armed forces of Ukraine, to 13 years in prison, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Along with Butkevich, courts have reportedly sentenced two more Ukrainians, Viktor Pokhazey and Vladislav Shel, to 8.5 and 18.5 years in jail, respectively. The terrorists accused the Ukrainians of ill treatment of civilians and the use of prohibited methods in armed conflict. Maxim Butkevich joined the armed forces of Ukraine in March 2022. He is a Ukrainian human rights activist and journalist and co-founder of the Zmina Human Rights Center and Hromadske Radio. Butkevich was captured by the Russians in June 2022. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine called the announced verdicts illegal and void and called on the international community to condemn the sentences. Prime Minister of Finland Sanna Marin met President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, reports Interfax Ukraine. She supported the idea of freezing and seizing Russian assets and transferring them to Ukraine. According to Marin, Finland backs the idea that Russia must pay the full price for aggression. The Prime Minister said that her country supports the efforts of the International Criminal Court, the Ukrainian authorities, and the creation of the International Center for the Prosecution of Crimes of Aggression in The Hague. She added that Finland announced a new package of 29 million euros to support the education system of Ukraine. The two leaders signed a joint statement which in particular condemns Russia's threats to use nuclear weapons and recalls that the use or threat of use of nuclear weapons is inadmissible. Finland welcomed Ukraine's peace formula and supported the idea of the Peace Formula Summit to ensure broad international participation. The President and Prime Minister also stressed the importance of expanding the Black Sea Grain Initiative and extending it to other Ukrainian seaports. In addition, Finland underlined its readiness to participate in the recovery, reconstruction and modernization of Ukraine, including in the green transition, digitalization and telecommunication, education, energy and energy efficiency, waste and water processing, construction, planning and infrastructure. Norwegian Defense Minister Bjorn Gram also visited Ukraine and announced that Norway, in cooperation with the United States, will send 2 more NASAMS air defense systems to Ukraine, reports Radio Liberty. He added that Oslo will also train Ukrainian personnel in the maintenance and operation of the system. Last October, it was reported that the United States handed over 2 NASAMS systems to Ukraine. In addition, Canada last November announced the allocation of military assistance to Ukraine in the amount of $500 million, and a significant part of these funds went to the purchase of 1 unit of NASAMS and missiles for Ukraine. At the same time, the president of Ukraine said that Kyiv has started negotiations with Oslo on organizing training for Ukrainian pilots. Reuters informs that the French retailer Auchan plans to open new stores in Russia under the name My Auchan and actually double its presence on the Russian market, reports Ekonomichna Pravda. Auchan Retail Russia stated that the new My Auchan stores will offer an assortment of about 900 items, 90% of which will be food products under Auchan's own brands. From the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the Russian daughter of the French Auchan supplied goods to the Russian military and the occupied Ukrainian territories under the guise of humanitarian aid to civilians, and also helped the military to recruit conscripts, according to a joint investigation by the insider Le Monde and Bellingcat. Auchan supermarket chain is one of the 10 largest foreign companies in Russia. The local market generates 11% of revenue for the parent Auchan Holding. Earlier, the general director of Auchan, Yves Claude, said that the chain will continue its work in Russia because it acts in the interests of the civilian population. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is an uncommercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.